I'm going to try and keep this video as quick as I can, but I do have a few things I want to run through with you guys. So first and foremost, I'm in PJs because it was supposed to be PJ day at school today, so I'm sticking with the theme. I hope none of you guys are driving today. I had to run out one time and it was not great, so stay home while you can. So I just want to go through what we were going to do in class today because today was going to be the last day of just like last minute exam prep, exam talk, chances for you guys to ask any questions, last little bits of like tips and tricks and rules that I want to make sure you guys know before exam day. Otherwise, like I think honestly you guys know everything. You can show up tomorrow and write if you had to. But I do want to go over some things just to make sure your minds are at ease going into the break. And then you can ask the questions if you have them. So first and foremost, I'm sure you guys already know that tomorrow we are having the dance that was supposed to be tonight. So that means for my afternoon group, our class isn't happening at all. For our morning group, I guess the class is probably happening, but I won't be there. I have to help with to set up. So yeah, I have no English classes tomorrow. That being said, come see me early on in the morning. For those of you who had responses yesterday that you handed in for the practice double, I marked all of them. They're all at school. Again, they don't have comments. It's just to give you that idea of what you would have marked at, given that it was the very real timer. So you can come see me tomorrow morning, and I do have those, or at end of day if you'd like. As a second thing, I don't know if I've mentioned this to everyone already. I think it's come up in conversation with a few, but I will be absent on Monday, January 5th. So that's the day before the exam. Don't worry, I will be there for your exam. I have everything already set up, the exams, the extra pens, pencils, all the dictionaries, everything's ready already downstairs on a cart for me. So it'll be good to go for the Tuesday morning. Your Monday class, the 5th, I've left this all in the sub-plan, will basically be free time. So you guys can rewatch this video, re-look at the documents I'm going to go through with you guys today, practice responses, just chill and chat about the exam, whatever. It's going to be a completely free day for whatever you feel you want to do ahead of the exam. So yeah, I know it's not ideal that I'm going to be gone on the Monday the 5th, but a very good opportunity came up to go on a trip, and I have not been on a really good trip in a long time, so I'm making a bit of a selfish decision, but that's why it's good that we've done all the practice heading into the break, because there's nothing I'll need to tell you on that day other than what's going to be in this video. So yeah, that being said, with this video, I'm doing it now because I intended to do what we were going to do in class today and then do like a refresher video and send it to you on the Monday. But I figure I'll just do this video now. So what I want to happen is I want you guys to watch this. Whether you actually watch it today, whether you watch it tomorrow in class, over the break, I don't know. But I'm going to actually leave a note for the sub on that Monday the 5th, or I did leave a note, to tell them to get you guys to watch the video. So if you haven't already, that's what you would do. And then my goal for that is that you guys can send me messages following watching the video if you have any questions of clarification. Again, I think generally speaking, everything should be covered. I'm hoping that I do this well. But again, that's if anything comes up that you feel you just want clarification on, you can send me a Teams message. I'll be probably in an airport. But that being said, I will have my Teams open. I'll be watching the hours of school time to wait for messages from you guys. So if anything isn't clear from this video, send me a message. Okay, that's the goal. But otherwise, then I'll see you the Tuesday morning. Okay, I think that covers most of that. Let's look at the last prep documents. These are the first 3 pages of that booklet that I handed you guys out. I'm going to open it up right here. Bear with me. Okay, so that's this document here. So I just want to go over a few things with you guys, make sure it is clear. And then, yeah, that's it for us for today. So general things as reminders. Your exam spans 4 days, so Tuesday, January 6th till Friday the 9th. It's a total of 5.5 hours technically of writing. That said, an extra 30 minutes is given on day 1 for responses and an extra 30 on day 4 for the long format. Okay, so you get an extra hour added to that 5.5, making it 6.5 hours. So day 1, which is Tuesday the 6th, you must be in the cafeteria by 8:30 a.m. absolute latest to set up. We begin immediately after the national anthem and will complete the first portion of the exam by 12 p.m. Once the responding to text booklet has been completed on day one, students will not have access to this booklet or be able to review their work. So do not fool yourselves, as many students have in the past, in thinking that you will be able to go back and on day two finish a response. Absolutely not. So get those responses done on day one. You won't get more time. That booklet doesn't come back to you. So again, 8:30 a.m. latest, Polyvalente CAF on Tuesday the 6th. Please set alarms. Please, text each other. Tell your parents to make sure you're up. Whatever you need to get done, do not be absent. Okay? Because again, you will not get that time back. Note that the first, it's really 15 minutes by the time you guys get your booklets, but it's really technically 20. But 15 minutes really, once I've handed you out your booklet, is allowing for you guys to discuss the exam topic, the text, and the prompts together. So you will get both of those booklets. You will get all of the reading, which we call the process booklet, and all of the questions, which is the responding to text booklet, where you'll be writing your answers. And you can go through it with each other. You can go look at the questions, make sure you are all on the same page and understand the questions. You can go look at things that are easy to analyze quickly, like a poem, like an image. So just try to help each other make sense of as much as you can in a 15-minute period. Okay? I cannot assist you in this time. I'm basically going to circulate and just kind of watch you guys chat. But you are able to write down anything that you'd like during that time. So if one of your peers says something really cool about the topic that you don't want to forget, write it down. You absolutely can. Okay? So that's for responding to text. The rest you guys know. You will be getting 3 hours. I will remind you every half hour to get those 6 responses done. On days 2, 3, and 4, you're going to come to class at normal time. So that means for the morning class, bloc C. For the afternoon class, bloc D. Like it's a normal day, I will hand you guys back your booklets. And it is on those days, 3 separate hours, where you guys will have to write your rough draft, your final copy, fill in your puzzle pieces, and write your writing variables. Okay? So all of that has to get done on days 2, 3, and 4. You have 3 full class hours. So Wednesday's class, Thursday's class, Friday's class, but an extra half hour will be added. For the morning group, that means that you will be staying into lunch. So prepare for that already. Have a lunch ready for you or be ready to leave after, whatever. But your class technically on Friday will run from 11 till 12:30. The afternoon class, you're going to come early. So you're going to show up at 12:30 and you're going to write until the end of your class at 2. So that way you all get your extra half hour, but you don't have to miss out on any other courses. Okay, so that's just exam going through. Some quick rules. You must write in blue or black pen. You cannot write any responses in pencils. There have been, I guess, allegations of cheating and whatnot as a result of that. So yeah, blue or black. And why strictly those colors and not your fun pinks and purples and stuff? It's just because of how it photocopies for exemplars. It's just a clarity thing. So yeah, blue or black pens. Bring those, please. Bring some that you know you can write well in. If they hurt your hand less, whatever. I will have extras. I have probably a dozen or 15 extra blue and black pens. So I'll be able to give you extras if you need, but show up prepared. And we don't recommend any erasable pens. The reason for that is that even if you've erased it, it leaves a bit of a shadow. So it makes all of your writing really unclear. So that's just a recommendation. You can annotate all over the pages of the process booklet. So that's the booklet with all of the reading and the images. Again, blue, black pens, highlighters, pencils, that's fine. You can use those two highlighters and pencils within the process booklet. You just can't write your responses in pencil or highlighter, obviously. But no other writing tools are provided or allowed. You can't bring any other support cheat sheets, anything like that. You just have the process booklet and your writing tools. Okay. You can include information that would identify yourself in the exam. So that means that mostly in your long format, but even in your responses, don't do anything that's literally says your name. Don't identify your school. And if you have something like super unique about you, I'm making up something silly, you had to amputate a foot, well, don't write a story where the person is an amputee because, It's going to be obvious it's you. This is just to be able to protect the anonymity of the exam. So it's just really something for us and also for you because we want to make sure that it's totally fair marking. So yeah, do not identify yourself. But you can always come up with something creative. Like some people will make up names that sound similar, but it's different. That's fine. Whatever. Um, all of the exam must remain within the booklet. So those tarot pages to write your draft on, at the end of hour 1 or 2 of the long format session, we actually have to staple them to the back side of the booklet, even if they're blank, because the exam markers need to go through them to make sure everything's accounted for. So just make sure that even if you tore out a page and drew on it for therapy, or you wrote something on it and you don't want to include it, doesn't matter. We still have to include it when we staple the exam together. You can't bring any resources in with you to the exam. So like I said, no cheat sheets. You can have access to a dictionary and thesaurus, but I will have to check these if you bring them in, just to make sure nothing is written in them. That said, I definitely have copies set aside on that cart. I think I have 4 dictionaries and 1 thesaurus. So I've got extras to help kind of pass around if need be, but bring your own if you have them. Any student leaving the room during the exam to use the washroom will have to be escorted by an administrator. It's usually honestly easier if we kind of do like it in batches. So like, you know, if every half hour someone needs to go to the bathroom, then we'll do that. Just because it's harder for me to go in and out of the room and have to supervise. So just note that. Any research done to use sources for the long format exam on days 2, 3, and 4 has to be quoted or else it will be considered plagiarism. So therefore, if you're writing an essay, an article, whatever, make sure that if you're quoting someone, you say their name. If you have a fact, you say where you got it. My recommendation for this, if you're going to do that, then once you get into the long format portion, the first thing you should do is go straight to those blank pages and write down your facts real quick before they're out of your mind. And then that way you're able to quote and not risk plagiarism. Going home to write portions of your text in ChatGPT or Grammarly and coming back to copy these corrected versions will be considered as plagiarism. So really, guys, don't mess around with this. This is why I told you to write the rough draft. That's where we can see that you wrote something, you corrected something, that there was a thought process, that you've made changes. It protects you, honestly, when you do that. But ChatGPT and Grammarly especially for the writing purposes, but ChatGPT for generation of ideas, it's cheating. So you want to make sure that your ideas are your own. Yes, you can go home and like write it in Word and work on it. You can't bring it back in with you, but there's nothing saying that you can't go home and, you know, develop your ideas. That's fine. You just can't use support. So please be careful with that. Like I've said in class, people have been given zeros on the exam in the past as a result of ChatGPT in its very recent history. Okay, tips. Dress comfortably for day 1. It's a long day. So polyvalent, as you guys know, those tables are not the most comfortable. If you want to bring a little cushion, do that. I sometimes find it can run really hot. Sometimes I find it super chilly in there. So just be prepared to have layers, right? If you are hot or cold, you can adjust as need be. So be comfortable because it is a long day. Bring snacks and hydration. So have a water bottle. Don't be needing to steal from other people. You know who you are. Bring food that you're going to need to get you through the day that you can focus. But just again, like be smart about which ones you bring. What's respectful. Stay away from common allergens. I mean, you guys have known each other long enough to know who not to rub peanuts on. So just be careful with that, please. Don't forget that you need to review your literary techniques and figures of speech. Pretty much every exam, both of them show up, but definitively one of them will. So either the image will definitely ask you to look for figures of speech, techniques in the image, or the poem will ask you to know literary techniques or figures of speech. So if it's both, it's both, or it's for sure going to be one of them. So make sure you know these. They're in this booklet where these pages are included. So please review those. Okay. Be careful with paraphrasing and indirect reference to the text. Actually, this was a problem on the double prompts. A lot of the prompts ask for specific reference to the text. That means the most specific possible is going to be direct quotes where need be, or where you can, pardon me. So that's what's suggested. Too much paraphrase, honestly, you can really come across as summarizing, which some people did on the double prompts. And the rubrics, a summary comes across as a mark of 2. So just be real careful, pick your examples specifically, use quotes where you can. And again, guys, you can cut your quotes. You don't have to use the full sentence. Start in the middle of the sentence and end the quote at the end, or only choose 3 words within the sentence, whatever it is that's going to back you up, but use direct quotes. Okay? To that effect, as I've always said, have a support for every point. Don't assume that we understand what you mean. Back it up with support from the text. I think that goes without saying. We've been talking about that all year. Okay? Use transitions between every new idea and point. Again, this just keeps it clear, keeps it fluid, keeps it organized, and use the right ones. Review that list of transitions that I gave you guys. So that's your, if you're in a main idea talking about positive and negative, you start with first, additionally, and then you're switching to the negative. Well, then you're going to go to however, right? And so you're going to use the appropriate transitions to keep it clear. Again, anytime it's only somewhat clear, if we can't read through it, it results in a score of 3. So transitions are huge. Remember that your connections are great additions to a response, whether it's to yourself, to another text, or to the world at large. Honestly, the weakest ones in my mind are text. But even though connections allow you to extend to a broader context, if it's done well, it can get you a score of 5, which means insightful, perceptive, or extends to a broader context. But what I do find is students rely on them too heavily. And so I always say, make it the cherry on top, not the cake itself. So respond to the prompt, have supports from the text, develop your ideas, and then if you have a connection, great. But do not make your response only connections, obviously at the exception of the connection response with your double, the second one. Okay? Every exam actually features an Indigenous author, a story about Indigenous culture, or issues affecting the Indigenous community. So spend some time thinking about the news, what you learned in grade 11 history, what's going on as far as, what's going on with Indigenous issues in the province and in the country. So keep that in mind. You can even search up famous Indigenous authors. Some of the ones that come up a lot are Chief Dan George comes up, Chief Dan George, and I'm blanking on the other one, but there's another one that comes up pretty often as well. Again, just be prepared that you're going to have to talk about that subject because it does come up every exam, okay? I recommend that you always do the first 2 responses in their correct order. The reason for that is the first general is intended to warm you up. So you want to do that. Like you want to do the task it's asking of you. Just generally jump in, kind of dip your toes, enjoy the topic, get to know what it's about before you're doing the hard work. And then I always recommend you do the double second, just because it is so time consuming. Get it out of the way, and then you can make up time on the last general, on the image, maybe even on the poem. So I just recommend you do those 2 in those order. After that, whatever order you want, okay? When you write more than one page has space for, someone asked me this the other day. So let's say you get to the bottom of the page that the response is written on. What I want you to do is what you see down here. So you see a little asterisk, continued on extra pages, or asterisk, see extra pages. So what this does is it tells us, well, I mean, we're not dumb. If it's ended in a mid-sentence, we'll know, but it just clarifies. I even like it when students highlight it on top of that, like they write this and then highlight it so it's super duper clear. And then once you go to the extra pages, which is at the back of the response booklet, you write something like response number 2 continued, or, the general response continued, whatever you write. Even better if you highlight that as well. Okay. That's just to keep it clear, organized. We know where to flip to. Yeah, my recommendation. Do not write a poem or a song for the long format. We've already talked about this. I don't want to restrict your creativity, so go for it if you'd like. You just take a really great risk that we will not understand what you're writing, and that's a lot of marks to weigh on creativity. So just my recommendation. As far as the long format goes as well, if you're writing a traumatic story, please give the teacher a heads up or write a disclaimer in the exam. So you could write at the top or at the back bottom of the text, again, a little note with an asterisk saying, this is a completely fictional story, if it is. Or if it's my teacher and my counselor are aware of this, whatever. We just need to know, because as I've told you guys before, if you write something that makes us question your safety, your well-being, We do what's called flagging your exam, which means that we have to check in on you. We have to involve counselors, other organizations, sometimes even the police. So just be aware of that. If you want to write something as a little cry for help so that we act on what's going on in your life, we will do that. Absolutely. I'm not telling you not to. But if you're going to write something traumatic, you can't get mad at us for acting on it and checking in. Okay? Come into day 2 with a plan about what you want to write. We've already talked about this as well. Don't waste time. Have a plan. Know what text you're writing. Know what content's going to be in there. Yeah, just don't waste the time. You've already got not enough time, right? As I said, write the rough draft. Don't skip it. I always recommend writing the rough draft on day 2 and like half to 3/4 of day 3, Wednesday, Thursday. And then spending the rest of day 3 and day 4, so about an hour to an hour and a quarter, recopying it, because recopying it won't take as much time as writing it the first time and editing, obviously. And then use that last extra half hour to do the writing variables. That's just my recommendation. Again, you guys can do it in whatever order you'd like. So that's most of the tips that I have for you guys. That really covers pretty much everything you need to know rule-wise. Again, bring your own stuff. Highlighters, pens, pencils, dictionaries, all of that. I have extras of everything. I will have extra erasers and all that, but you do need to be prepared. So show up at 8:30 a.m. latest, Tuesday the 6th, with all the materials that you may need. I will be there bright and early at 7 a.m. So you can come really anytime you'd like. But yeah, just show up with the materials. Make sure you do some review. If you guys do any type of response practice over the break, yes, I'll be on holidays, but I will check my teams all the time. It comes to me as like a text message, most of the time actually. So I will answer you guys. I will get back to you. If you have questions on the Monday, whether you're watching this on the Monday the 5th or today, right before the holidays, just send me a message on Teams as well. Like I said, on the Monday the 5th, I'm going to be just waiting to get on a plane. So make sure that you are sending me messages if you have the questions. I want to make sure you guys feel good going into it on Tuesday. But I think that's basically all the information I have for you guys. Everything else I think you should know. I think we practiced everything and you should be relatively prepared. So yeah, that's it. I will see you guys at school tomorrow. And if you guys need to come chat and ask any questions or come get your double prompts, I will be in my classroom in the morning or at the end of the day. So yeah, see you later, guys.